Hello friends, welcome to TechGranth. In this video, we will learn about how we can store our data on Docker containers. We will see Docker container storage. As we have seen in our last videos, we have layers, right, to write data within the containers or for the Docker images. So all the files created and stored in read-only layers when we built an image, okay, and all the files created inside a container when it is running are stored on a writable container layer. That is also called a read-write layer. Okay, this means that the data does not persist when that container no longer exists. If we exit out of our container, then the data will lost. And it can be difficult to get the data out of that container if another process or containers need it. Also, a container's writable layer is tightly coupled to the host machine where our container is running, so we cannot easily move the data somewhere else. So, what are the options we have to store that data persistently? So, we mainly have two options, volumes and bind mounts, to store our data after our container exits or no longer exists. So, you can see, right? In the diagram, you can see we have a host machine where we will be running our containers. Okay, then we have a container which is running on our host machine. Then to store our data after the container exits, we have bind mount, volume options. We also have a third option which is temp fs mount. We'll discuss about that later. That we have three options for Linux systems, which is bind mount, volume, and tempfs mount. And if we are running our containers on Windows, then we also have option for that as well, which is npipe or called named pipe. So apart from these, if we are writing into a container's writable layer, which will require a storage driver to manage the file system. But the storage, as the storage driver provides a union file system using Linux kernel, but that extra abstraction reduce performance as compared to using data volumes. Okay, which directly writes to the host file system or on the host machine. So overall, the volume mounts will be having the higher performance than storage drivers. So let's start from volumes. What are the volumes? Volumes are mount points where we stored or that stored in a part of our host file system which is managed by Docker. And whatever we write within our container, that will be stored at the location slash var slash lib slash dockers and slash volumes. Within these volumes, we will be writing our data on the host machine or host file system on Linux. Then non-Docker processes should not modify this part of file system. Okay, that should not be modified by any other processes which are not maintained by Docker. So volumes are the best way to persist data in Docker. As I told, it is the higher performance and a best way to persist our data in Docker for the containers. Volume can be named or anonymous, right? If we do not provide any name to any volume, it will generate a anonymous name or a random name which will be unique for us for all the volumes within that container. Volumes also support the use of volume drivers which allows us to store our data on remote host or cloud providers. If we want to store our data on remote host or any cloud provider storage, then we can use volume drivers. Okay, then we have bind mounts, where we stored our data anywhere on the host file system or on the host machine. We would not be having this dedicated location for the storage. We can store anywhere on the system. They may even be the important system files or directories. So it can store data on anywhere on our host file system on the host machine. Now, then non-Docker processes on the Docker host or a Docker container can modify them anytime. For in the case of volumes, we should not modify, but for the bind mounts, we can modify them, or any process can modify them at any time. Bind mounts have limited functionality as compared to volumes, and we cannot even use Docker CLI commands to directly manage these bind mounts, where we can use Docker CLI commands for volumes. Then we have temp fs mounts. Here you can see, right, for memory. So it stored data in the host system's memory only. So it stored data within memory for the host system and never returned to the disk or host system's file system. Internally, where it used, we usually don't use ourselves this temp fs mount. Generally, it is used by Swarm services, which we will discuss in our later videos, which is used for clustering over containers. And that usually use the tempfs mounts to mount secrets into a service containers. Secrets will be the information which we do not want to disclose. You know, secrets were. Then we have named pipe for Windows containers, which is used for communication between Docker host and container, where Docker host will be the uh, Windows host and our container. The common use case for this is to run third-party tools inside container and connect to the Docker Engine API using named pipe. Okay, these are the main options we have. Other than that, we can use storage drivers, which allows to create data in writable layer of our container, and the files created by storage driver won't be persisted after the container is deleted, and both read and write speed are also lower than native file system performance. And we have different storage driver types like overlay 2, which is default and preferred. Then we have device mappers, which is used for mainly for CentOS and Red Hat Enterprise Linux, but now they are also moving towards overlay 2 for default one. Then we have BTRFS and ZFS, which is based on the backed file system of the host system. Means if our host system is having BTRFS or ZFS using as their file system, then we can use these storage driver. So I hope you would have understand this. So now let's discuss where we can use volumes and where we can use bind mounts or tempfs mounts. So let's see the use cases for all those options. So first of all, volumes are the preferred way to, as I told earlier, volumes are the preferred way to persist data in Docker containers and services, which is mainly used because of three reasons. First is sharing data among multiple running containers. If we are running multiple containers, then we can use volumes to share data between those containers. And if we do not explicitly create any volume, a volume will be created when the first time it is mounted into a container. When that container stops or removed, the volume still exists and we would not lose our data. Then multiple containers can mount the same volume simultaneously, either read write or read only option, and volumes are only removed when we explicitly remove them. I will show you that in our command video, a Docker commands video. Then other option, or when the Docker host is not guaranteed to have a given directory or file structure. So volumes helps to decouple the configuration of Docker host from the container runtime. We can use different configuration for both Docker host and the container. And to store our containers data on remote host or cloud provider rather than locally, I also told in last slide, when we need to backup or restore or migrate our data from one Docker host to another, volumes are the better choice. We can stop containers using the volume and then back up the volumes directory, which I told, that is slash var slash lib slash docker slash volumes, and within that we will be having our volume name and then our data. So these three are the main use cases for volumes. Then what uh, for the bind mounts, where we will use bind mounts to share configuration files from the host machines to containers, like we can use etcresolve.conf for DNS resolution of our host machine to the container. Then for sharing source code or build artifacts between development environment on Docker host and container. We are referring uh, host machine, host file system, Docker host. Those all are the same thing. So how we can share a source code? Just like we may mount our Maven target directly into container, and each time we build the Maven project on a Docker host, the containers get access to the rebuild artifacts, whichever has been updated. Then if we want file directory structure of Docker host and containers to be consistent, we can also use bind mounts. So these are the use cases for bind mounts. Then tempfs mounts, which are the best used for cases when we do not want data to be persist either on the host machine or within the container for security reasons, or to protect the performance of container when our application needs to write a large volume of non-persistent state data. So these are just a temporary file systems, right? Means we would not want to store our data even on the host machine or Docker host or the our within our container, and that may be like secrets, right? Which I told in last slide. So these were all about Docker container storage, and uh, let's see the some of the commands which we can use to create a container's volume or mount. So these are the commands to create a container's volumes or mounts, right? We can create and start a container first, right? We can create a container and then start it. And to view the approximate size of running container, we can use this command docker ps-s. S will be for summary. We can rename our container and to create a volume and then use it from another container, right? As I told, we can share our data stored in a volume between multiple containers. This is the case where we create a volume named as data, okay, on Ubuntu image. Then we can use this data volume with the different container. And we can also create host directory bind mounted volume container. Means we can provide any a directory of our file system or of our Docker host file system like slash home slash docker, and then use it from another container. We can also set storage driver options for container, like if we can use hyphen hyphen storage opt and size will be 120. And we can also create drivers by giving this option as type tempfs, ptrfs and nfs, and with all these options. Okay, so let's go to a terminal and check all these commands how these works. So we are at a terminal where we are having this home directory, home techgrun, and we are also having this tg directory. Okay, so first we will create a volume using this directory, and then we will use this location as bind mounted volume. Con- okay, so let's first create docker create hyphen v. Hyphen v will be using to create volume, and we will give that location as slash tg. Okay, and then we will give hyphen hyphen name. Will also give as tg to easily identify, and then we'll use image as alpine one, which will be the small and will take less time. So we are creating here a volume using the docker image as alpine, and okay, so press enter. So you can see docker ps hyphen a. This is the container id here it is using, and docker ps it is not showing as it is just created as a volume. You can see the name here. So now let's create another container which where we will use this volume. Okay, so docker run hyphen hyphen rm hyphen hyphen volumes from, and volume name tg, then docker image, and after this we will be using command hyphen ls hyphen la slash tg. Okay, so what it will do, it will run a container. Earlier we used docker build and docker run command, but docker run command also uh, used docker build in the backend. So it will using this docker image, it will run a container uh, with this volume mounted. Okay, and after that it will run this command, and if we'll exit out of this container, then it will also remove the container. Okay. If I'll press enter, so you can see it is showing slash tg, and within that it is showing the directories or files that are available right now. So if I check on the file docker host, where this is our docker host, right? If I'll check here ls-la slash tg, there is nothing. Okay, but if we use the same command within the container, it is showing our two hidden files. Means that is not that is available there exist, and it is having hidden files, but on Docker host we do not have anything like that. So what it does, it we provide a volume which we created earlier to this container. Okay, so let's delete this one, or we just create another one, right? So Docker create hyphen v. Now we will be creating bind mounted volume. So where we will use our home directory slash home slash. Okay, before that let me show you what we are here at our home directory, and if we'll see ls, you can see all these directories are there. So if when we will mounting the volume created on this home directory, that will provide all these files and directories to the container as well. So let's see that. Docker create hyphen v, and then home and run, right? And colon slash, we'll provide this as this a directory name or bind mount name hyphen name. This will the volume name and alpine image. Let's, so it has been created this one for us. Okay, now if I'll run to container with this volume rm volumes from run, and then alpine, and then ls run. So what we are doing, we are mounting the TechGrant volume name, which is this one, and we are doing ls on this location, which we given as this to the for the container. This is our on the Docker host, and this is for the container. Okay, so if I'll run this, enter, so you can see all these files or directories are now available to the container. Okay, so like this we can create bind mounted volume for a container, and we can also share our data with the containers. One last thing I would like to show, that how to check storage driver we are using on our Docker host or Docker machine. So Docker info, and if I'll do it more, or just let me check with head. Okay, we did not get here, so add 20, so it will show first 20 lines. So here you can see storage driver, right, which I told that overlay 2 is the default one which we'll be using on the Linux. And next thing which we will discuss, we will be Docker networking. In that Docker networking, you can see we have different type of network options like bridge, host, IPVLAN, MAC VLAN, null, and overlay as well. Okay, and we have, these are the showing here as plugins, but we will see them in our next video. Also for log options, okay, let me just show you in detail this command, right? So I'll not just put head, let's do it more. Okay, so yeah, from here you can see client is debug mode is false, we can make it true. Server container, we are having two containers and both are stopped. Okay, we have one image only, which is Alpine we were using. Storage driver we are having overlay 2, and logging driver. Okay, logging driver is JSON file, and C group driver is C groups. Means we are using JSON file as our log files, and C groups we are using for isolation, right? Then we have these network options, network plugins which are already installed here, and log plugins we have these one, which are already here. We can get the logs from here and provide to AWS or FluentD, to GCP logs, journald, local, Splunk or syslogs. We will discuss all these things in later videos. Right now, Swarm is inactive, which I told Swarm is used for clustering of containers, and that is inactive now. Sometime later we will see that. Runtime it is using as runc, and default runtime is also runc, which I talked about in our first video, Docker introduction. And then we have different things. So mainly these were the main things which you can focus on. If you press enter, you can see the more details, right? You can see the kernel version we are using, operating system we are using right now 18.4.3 LTS long term support. OS type is Linux, architecture is x86-64, one CPU and almost 5 gig RAM, and name is Ubuntu. Username is TechGranth, registry we are having this one, and we do not have any label, and this is experimental, not experimental is false, insecure registries and all these details. Okay, so that's all for the Docker volumes or data storage on the Docker containers. Thank you. We'll see you in our next video. Please keep watching, keep sharing, and provide your feedback or suggestions in comments. Thank you.